let me go to the next slide. It is taking time. We talked about the cognitive and the RPA, right? So, what are the benefits actually we are thinking of? Because based on the discussion we had so far, what are the benefits you see that exist in the RPA? Sorry? Fine. Yeah. Sorry? Cost. Yeah. So why the cost actually, I mean, but how can you say that, so there is a cost reduction in the automation?
So first of all, I just think we can reduce the workforce by from maybe say from 100 people to 20 people, depending upon attended on robots. Apart from the fact that over the course of say 5 years, the wages of the people would increase. Whereas over the course of 5 years, the license cost by and large, if you have bought them, they'll kind of decrease. So apart from having a straightaway reduction in the number of FTE count, even for those, if assuming that there are 100 people, you will still actually increase your cost if you have people because of attrition, and rather more than attrition, the inflation. Whereas in case of software, the license tend to decrease.
Yeah. So here two things. So one is OpEx reduction. OpEx reduction is basically since we are able to reduce the number of people working in the operations, actually we can reduce the people, right? So anyway, people cost is we are cutting down. So that's definitely a reduction in the OpEx. But the cost of automation, actually, I'm talking about cost of automation is less in this. So cost of automation in this sense, let us say, so you wanted to do the automation using IT. Okay, so there is an IT automation also, right? So in IT automation, let us say, of course, through IT automation, we may not be able to solve everything, but so there are some cases actually we can solve the problem with IT automation also. IT automation is like using the APIs, using the scripts, and integrating multiple applications. That also actually we can do some level of automation. So in IT automation, typically what happens is it requires knowledge of the entire application. It requires the knowledge of the entire application. So you need experts to do it. Let us say we are integrating an application with something. So then we need to know the API details. So what are the data elements actually we need to take, and what are the outputs actually we need to give? All that actually all the integration related so data items we need to have, and we need to have that complete knowledge of the complete application, because what is the architecture of the A application and what is the architecture of B application, how we need to make it talk to each other. So all that knowledge we should have. So then only we'll be able to do that automation. And it's a long process. So if you wanted to do some integrations with some applications, so I can introduce some application automation tool through which actually if I wanted to implement an automation, so then it requires integration and it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time because the understanding of the things required and a lot of approvals are required. The owners of the application A should agree, owners of application B should agree. So there is a lot of delay would be there. There is a lot of cost because the people who are managing these kind of automations, they must be experts. Okay, so they should the solution designers like people need to be involved in terms of IT related automations. But in this case, it is a process automation. So process automation will be process understanding the process will be simpler. Okay, understanding the process, I will also know. I need not be a banking expert to know the process, right? Suppose loan is a process. So loan process, so you will know, right? So you have to apply for the loan, and you know some verification will happen. So these are the processes. And if somebody will explain you in English, you will understand the process. Similarly, if you come to the actual process that agents perform on the desktop also, if someone will give you a walkthrough, like what they do for the loan, so you will be able to understand. You need not know Java, you need not know Oracle, SQL, all that stuff. It is a process, right? I am opening my Outlook. I am downloading this particular mail. I'm downloading this particular attachment. I am reading this Excel sheet, and then I am pasting these Excel sheet values into an application. Okay, so here there is no computer language that we are using, right? It's a simple English process that we understand. If you know the process, then you will be able to implement the automation also. Okay, you need not know how the SAP works. You need not know how CRM works, how CBL, CRM works, how ERP works. You need not know anything. Okay, if you know the process, if you have that process understanding, that will be enough for you to automate the things. Okay, so that is the cost of automation is less. Second thing is, that's what is also saying. Second thing is OPEX reduction we have seen, and cost of automation is less. What else? If cost of automation is less, what is the advantage? If cost of automation is less, okay, you can get your return of the investment quickly. Okay, if you are expending X dollars, that X dollars you will get back maybe in 3 months or 6 months. Max by 1 year, actually, you will get back your investment. Okay, so there is a better ROIs that we can get. So in case of RPA, what else? One major advantage of this RPA is it is a non-intrusive kind of a implement automation. A non-intrusive means we are not integrating with the applications. We are outside the applications. Without connecting to the applications, I'm automating it, right? I'm not going there at all. This is a major advantage where actually people, especially customers, are very reluctant to get any third-party application entered into their data center. That is one. Anything else? Anything else coming to your minds from the benefits of RPA?
So monotony of the job is reduced. Person we have to open and see, copy, paste. We get bored doing
Right.
same thing again and again.
Yeah.
Same thing they can apply that time in another activity.
Correct. So if you are reducing the people, definitely there will be OPEX reduction. But at the same time, we can give a better type of works to the agents, and we can improve the productivity of these agents. Okay, wherever actually there is a workload. Okay, so there is heavy load on the work. So if you are taking out that heavy works from or the repetitive works, so from the team, so then so they will be best utilized. The resource utilization would be better. What else? Yeah. So error reduction and accuracy. Okay, of course, accuracy is nothing but actually it boils down to this. So because there are human, whenever actually he is copying some value from an Excel sheet to and pasting in some this one an application. So then there is an every possibility so that so he may copy a wrong value from a wrong cell and paste in a wrong position. So that will lead to what? So that will lead to errors. And errors and the cost of errors. So each cost deal is, I mean, each error is attached with a cost because the whatever actually activity we do, so it should be first time right. So if you are not doing first time right, okay, so then so there will be an error, and the error will cost something to the company because it has to be repeated again. So that means if you I'm spending 10 minutes time there, okay, and if there is an error, I need to repeat the task again. So then I'm taking 20 minutes to complete the task. This additional 10 minutes time is a cost, right? So that we can reduce. Not only that, so when you are reducing the errors, definitely the accuracy will improve. And when there is accuracy improves, the customer experience will improve. Let us say because of these errors, let us say this team is managing the loans. If the team is managing the loans, and if there are, let us say, 100 errors per month, okay, so then the number of errors will come down to maybe 10 or 15 due to any reason. So then there is this drastic reduction of errors, so which means the customers are happy. So your customer experience will improve. Okay. So these are there are some monetary benefits through RPA and there are some softer benefits. So both will definitely going to benefit the industry, the company. Okay. No, no, I'll send it to mail. Let- some problem with slides anyway, so I'll show you the slides. Yeah, moving to the, so I think benefits are clear. So what are the benefits of RPA? And then uh, it is better to understand what are the, of course, we already discussed just to clearly understand what are the differences between IT automation and RPA automation. Anything coming to your mind? Differences between IT automation and RPA automation. Right, correct. So we need not know the technology. If you just know the process, that will be okay. And I think so. It is a non-intrusive, whereas IT automation is intrusive solution. This is a non-intrusive solution, and
This would be much simpler. I mean, the codes that would be written.
yeah, it is simpler. And actually, you don't need any experts. You don't need any experts to so do these automations. And
This has an advantage of having a manual intervention in case some bug or some exception and comes in. There should be a provision for human intervention, and then the robot can continue working. Whereas if it is IT automation, mostly you'll have to think of all the possible exceptions and then only code. Because in case uh, a bug or glitch happens, you'll have to go through the entire process of change management to correct the code over here.
Exactly. So here, actually, let us say, if there is a change in the process, let us say, because change is something, it happens in the business. So you cannot avoid any changes, right? Changes it's a normal. Changes very normal in the business. So if you have to make a change in the IT environment, so then how, what is the life cycle? What is the cycle actually that happens? So there is a release cycle that happens in every 3 months in any IT developments. So there is a release cycle, like all the changes actually they will implement uh, after 3 months. After there will be 3 month cycle, there will be 6 month cycle like that actually they, and so there is a large process actually, long process actually they have to follow for any change. But whereas in case of RPA, let us say today I'm taking I'm using, let us say, Internet Explorer 10. Okay. Now suddenly that is changed. Now it has become Internet Explorer 11. So then, so there may be some changes. So whatever process actually I'm handling, whatever process I've automated, okay, so that may not work with new version. So I need to make some changes. The changes can be done very in a very simple form, because whatever RPA tools so that we have it in the market, so they are all very user friendly, and so there is no coding involved in that. There is no coding involved in that. Whereas in RT automation, there is a coding involved, right? But in this, there is no coding, and almost everything is so drag and drop kind of automation. So drag and drop are some easiest way of doing this automation, but there is no coding. So that way, actually, very easy to implement the changes. So in case of so RPA, whereas it takes a longer process in IT, because these are the very few changes, but so these are, but still they are very important, and so they are critical from the business standpoint. Because for RPA, they can take a call easily. They can take any customer can take a call easily to go with implementation. Why? Because it is not nobody is entering his data center. So that is how actually that is a major advantage actually that we have in RPA. Okay, next. So coming to the kind of tasks what we can implement in RPA. So when you come to the kind of tasks that we implement, as I said, so there is one rule that we have to follow in terms of identifying the right use case. Because I'm handling, so I'm running a company. I have, let us say, 2,000 processes. It's pretty possible because there are many customers. So they have about more than 5,000 processes. Also, there are customers, businesses they have. Out of 5,000 processes, how do and it is simply it's not possible to implement all the 5,000 use cases we are automated. So then how do we go ahead with the automation? I'm running a company. I have 5,000 processes, and I wanted to implement RPA. Okay, and how I should go ahead with RPA? Because there should be some means, right? There should be some means. So if you are picking up a use case, for automation, you should be completely aware why are you picking up that use case, okay, and why only that use case. Or if you're picking up top 10, so why are you picking? So what is the criteria for picking up those use cases? Okay, so here actually there is a standard process of implementing RPA. Okay, whenever a customer thinks and believes so that automation is definitely going to help him in terms of reducing the OPEX, improving the accuracy, improving the operational efficiency, and improving the customer experience. So he has to take a call, right? But he has set up how many? So 10,000, 5,000 use cases. So then what exactly they do? So there is a process of process assessment exercise. Process assessment exercise, it's a consultancy kind of an exercise every company will do. So in that, what they do is they check, first of all, actually, they filter out what are the top 10 or 20 use cases. Top 10 or 20 basis on the volumes, because volume is a criteria and priority is a criteria. Priority means the customer may be having some problems with a particular process where they have huge problem in terms of handling the tasks and all. Okay, basis on the basis on the volume, basis on the priority, basis on the feasibility. Suppose there is a problem with the process, but if that is not feasible with RPA, so then there is no use. So taking all these three things into account, so we will figure out what are the top at least 100 use cases for the for the RPA. So that they call it as a heat map. They create a high-level heat map. They create a high-level heat map in terms of identifying a bunch of use cases fit for RPA. So that is the first step. And that exercise generally will happen about 1 week basis, and they will figure out for each use case what is the benefit you are going to get. What is the benefit we are going to get for each use case? So then what will happen is you will get to know and you will figure out what are the in that also what are the processes which are giving high benefits. Benefit in the sense, what is the benefit we are talking about here? Yeah, suppose we are saving man efforts of 100 for a use case 1. Man hour efforts. For use case 2, I'm saving 50 man hour efforts. So like that, actually, we calculate the man hour efforts saved for each of these tasks, and then we will take the top 10 or top 20, depending on the requirement, and those 20 use cases actually we will go with. So for those 20 use cases also, yeah, I selected 20 top use cases out of this 100. So will that be okay for me to go ahead?
Try to figure out how soon can you get the ROI amongst these.
Right. So here then what we have to do is we have to estimate, or we have to create a business case. We have to create a business case. So these 10 cases or 20 cases is giving me a benefit of about, I'm able to save 20 people, for example. I'm able to save 20 people if I automate these 20 use cases. Okay. So if I automate these 20 use cases, I'm going to save 20 use cases. So I'm going to save, let us say, 1 million per hour, per year. I'm saving 1 million per year. And but for the investment also you need some money, right? For implementation also you need some money, right? Implementation means you have to automate all these things. You need people, you need developers, you need consultants, you need business analysts. So all these people are required to do all that exercise, right? For that also you need to expend something. You have to spend some money to implement this automation. Let us say that spend is about 500K. So 1 million is the saving and 500K is the expenses. And what is the benefit I'm going to get? 500K I'm going to get as a benefit in the first year. Okay. What is the ROI here?
2 years.
ROI, so when I get my investment back? In the next 6 months, I will get my investment back, right? So I'm saving 1 year. Okay. So once after I implement, so within 6 months time, whatever I invested, I'm getting back. So 6 months is the ROI, and what they need is they expect the service providers like TCS, Wipro, Tech Mahindra, so for all those people, they expect 3 things. They expect, how do you identify the right use cases? How do you set up a center of excellence for RPA in my office? EY does the RPA consultancy, and PwC does the RPA consultancy. So what they do is they go to the customer, they screen through all the processes, and so they will figure out all the use cases, and they will say these are the use cases you have to go with, and this is the ROI you are going to get. So like that actually they will do. And they will also suggest what is the best tool for you to automate. So this is the consultancy exercise. Okay. So this is the first step for any industry to do. Okay. This is the first step. And what is the next step? So next step is the implementation. Suppose you have once you identify everything. So next step is the implementation. So in the implementation, what are the key things actually that are expected by any industry? So if I'm doing it, what I should do? Sorry? Yeah. Yeah. So then the thing is, see, whatever so far done is it's done on a theoretical level, right? So we are assuming that yes, these things happen, this is feasible, and we assume certain things, and we'll arrive at some numbers. Yes, we got the go ahead now. So now what we have to do is we have to implement it. So when we are implementing it, so there is it's again it's a general process of requirement gathering. You might have heard about the requirement gathering, right? So requirement gathering is what? In this case, what would be the requirement gathering? In this case, requirement gathering would be what is the process? It's the process only. It is not too technical. Okay. So requirement gathering, how they will give? How they will give the requirement gathering? They just give the walkthrough. They just give the walkthrough of the process. That to who will give? A consultant or a process guy will give. It's not a technology guy will not give any walkthrough here. Only consultant will give the process. So these are the steps to be followed. And these will be captured by the business consultants, and they will so implement the automation. But here, what are the roles that are required? So in case of implementation, what are the roles required?
Developer, solution architect.
You require developers, senior developers, solution designers, project managers. If it is a large project, it's a solution, project manager is also required. BAs are required. So, so these are the things. So, but when you compare the kind of life cycle, development life cycle, if you compare with the normal software life cycle, it may look similar. It may look similar, but the kind of roles will be different here. Here it's more, it's a process-dominated kind of implementation. It's all related to process. A little technology involved here, so where everything is done through so drag and drop kind of implementation, right? So in the development, what next? After development, what? Yeah, it's general. It is testing. So testing is also is the same way. Actually, it happens in IT also. And next is support, right? But what is the major difference here? Because now so far, actually, what we are doing is we are so we are simulating the humans here. We are simulating the humans here because humans they are doing some work and we are transferring the same work to robots. Now we have to manage those. We have to manage those robots. So for managing the robots, actually so in each tool actually they are giving a control room kind of activity. Whereas for humans there is no control room or anything, only supervisor or team leader. So they manage. But so in case of RPA, so they manage through an orchestrator. So whenever in use case or something is developed and deployed, so then so a robot will be activated, and we need to manage those robots. So which robot is working, which robot is taking which task, how much time it is taking, and so whether all the robots are running fine or not. If it is down, actually how to make it up, right? So these are all support level activities. So that have to be handled. It's come up or not? Huh? Yeah, any questions so far? So while the so deck offers.
It's almost the same like IT only. We are not doing anything exceptionally like for requirement gathering. I don't know something like how we do for IT projects or data science.
Yeah. So in the yeah. So in the IT gathering, what will happen is you will give the process steps. Okay. But in this case, you will go deeper. Deeper in the sense you have to click on a button. Okay, you have to click on this text box. Okay, this is keystroke level requirement. So if you have to give the keystroke level requirement, so then only, and this will start like, because this is a walkthrough given by a agent, right? So the way he gives is, I'll click on start button, I open programs, I'll go to SAP, I'll click on this, SAP login screen opens, I'll give, so all that needs to be captured, and that has to be, incorporated in your program. So then only it will work. So that is the major difference.
So when you say the robot goes down, what exactly it goes down? Like it's not able to press the button in the workflow, or not able to do some action that we have set it to do, something like that only.
Yeah, anything may happen. Anything may happen. So, for example, normal our machines also actually suddenly hangs up. Right, my machine got hanged up. So similarly, so anything may happen. So that is one. Second thing is like I created a use case. So the use case is running, and suddenly some error comes in. So some error pops up due to something. Okay, so then it cannot identify what has to be done with that error message. So it stops there. It stops there. And if I predict that something may pop up like this, if I predict that something will pop up like this, I can incorporate in my coding saying that press OK and go ahead. Okay. For known cases, I can include it in my program. But if it encounters an unknown pop-up, so then it can't do anything. So it stops there. So maybe some manual intervention is required to come out of that, and some remedial action has to be taken. So these things actually generally happen. Even for people also, when we are doing something, suddenly something comes up, and so maybe due to memory or due to the application error, whatever reasons.
So typically during, say for example, during the development phase, implementation phase, we have two developers who are working on it, one solution architect, and they have developed say 50 bots. So during the maintenance phase or support phase, how many people would be able to support the existing 50 bots? One person would be sufficient, or
Yeah, actually, it depends on the load and criticality of the process. Suppose if you deploy a single use case in all the machines, then so maybe you may need fewer people. But if there are multiple use cases and all the use cases are critical, so then you may need to put more resources to monitor those nodes.
filling up
To
on
it.
coverage?
Yeah, yeah. For example, GE, so there are 100 bots, and we have a team of 8 people for GE.
So when it stops to some errors, at the server side or the admin side will get notified that this is not able to run. Like,
Yeah, so whenever a bot is stopped for any reason, so it will shoot a alert to the administrator. Okay. Uh, yeah, sometimes if we are not able to configure those things and all, but there will be continuously the support team needs to monitor the dashboard and check actually if anything is down or something.
So can you have redundancy built in? Means like one bot failed to do that work. Other bot can come and read from the logical point and continue.
Yeah, actually, redundancy is not at the robot level because whatever implementation they have done, so there is no redundancy for the bot, but there is a redundancy for the orchestrator. Orchestrator, so there is a DR kind of provision is there where you can have one DR in Hyderabad, as a one orchestrator in Hyderabad, which is the primary, and the secondary orchestrator you can have it in Bangalore or somewhere.
So that will take over.
So when this orchestrator is down, so then the secondary orchestrator will take the load. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That exists, but not for the bots. If bot is failed, it's failed.
No, but same bots you can also deploy in Bangalore. Also here, the machine which is supplying
Yeah, it
bot
is.
here failed. So the bots situated in Bangalore can take over the job of these bots.
Yeah, the take over the job means actually there is some manual intervention is required, but the software is not providing that facility. The DR facility is available only for the orchestrator. Only for the orchestrator. Orchestrator means which is the central unit. DR facility is available only for the central unit, not for the bots.
Failure of that only.
Yeah, failure of, because that is the key where every entire data is, because bot is, it doesn't have anything. Bot actually we are not loading anything. We are not storing anything. So on a runtime basis, it will take the use case and runs it. So then,
Like a human being meditating.
yeah, like a human being. So yeah,
Will not carry any data.
it will not carry any data. Yeah. Yeah.
Just mimics.
Yeah, it mimics the whatever we program it. That way.
So it's a logical.
Yeah. And it also gives orchestrator is not only for deployment, so it can deploy the things, it can monitor, and it can give reports also. Like today, how many tasks have been handled by the robots?
Which bot handled
Which bot handled which task, and what is the time taken? What is the so downtime and uptime? So everything actually it gives. Got this? Okay. Let's move on to the slide deck so that actually we'll be covering so all the stuff. Maybe we have covered the things already, but the main advantage here is it is applicable for all verticals and horizontals. Any industry you take, whether it is a vertical means it's a industry related use case. Horizontal means which is a common kind of a area like finance. Finance is financial services. Every industry will have financial services. Every industry will have HR. Every industry will have procurement. Okay, so these are all the horizontals. Verticals is telecom related, banking related use cases. So all verticals and all horizontals we can do here because it's a repetitive task. To take any task from the mission standpoint, it is just opening an application, clicking few buttons, copy some values, pasting some values. So these kind of activities will be there in any industry and any vertical, any industry and any horizontal. So that's the reason this is applicable for all industries. And if you look at here, so these are the best areas. These are the best areas for RPA. Any operations, business operations or IT operations or service delivery and incident management. In these areas, basically there will be more and more repeatable tasks would be there. Okay, and so these are all high volume. So there will be huge volumes. Most of the unassisted. Okay, unassisted means, and you wanted to know your bank balance, for example. So if you wanted to know the bank balance, so then, so what he will do? So he will ask your account number, and he will open one application and enter the account number, and then maybe he has to navigate a couple of pages, and then he will get your balance there. Okay, and then he will tell you that this is the balance. Okay, but here we can introduce RPA also here. How means, so you will ask for the balance and he will just enter your account number and click on get balance. So once you click on get balance, so then it will go to the relevant application and it will scroll through multiple pages and whatever it has to be done, it will do, and it will give the result on the screen saying that this is the balance. Okay. In some cases, what will happen is the agent will keep you, or the call center agent will keep you on hold for more than 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and he will work on something. What he will be working on? So he will be opening some pages and figure out what is the result, and then he has to convey back to the customer. This is going to take some time. And he has to remember, so what are all the screens he has to navigate to get the result. Whereas in case of RPA, what will happen is, if he asks for something, he can just click on that particular button so that the rest of the thing is automated, and it will open the relevant applications and then give the result. And he will just simply say that your uh, your information is this. Similarly, applications, he has to block the card and he has to get that request fulfilled. Okay, but in this case, what will happen? He'll just take the number and press on one button, credit card lock button. So then the entire activity happens in the backend, and it will pop up the result saying that the credit card is locked or something, whatever message. So then he will convey to the customer. This is called assisted automation. Assisted, or a few people call it as a attended automation. They call it as a attended automation, or it can be called as a front office bot. They call it as a front office bot. So these are the types of automations which is through quite possible through um, RPA. Next. So this is just a depiction of what is the scope for RPA, because people think that, especially industries, they think that we have done all automations, we have done because automation is continuously happening, right? So they think that so automation is already over. We don't have anything to automate, yeah, but will be a scope. So if you see here, these are all the automations which are already done. Telecom, banking, lot many things you are able to do, right? So ATMs are there, and so there is automatic deposit machines, and within the applications also there are a lot many things are automated. So they have automated many things, but still there are thousands of people working. As I said, Scotiabank is having 20,000 people. Citibank Mexico is having 9,000. Vodafone is having 9,000. Thousands of people working on. And if you go to financial industries like what do you call capital, so there are few financial institutions. They have at least 30 to 40,000 people are working. What they're doing is this part. There is a long tail of activities that are done manually. So this is the area where actually we can apply RPA. So it's not that doors for automation is closed. So there is a lot of scope for automation still, and this entire long tail is completely we have a scope for RPA. Okay. So next is RPA use cases. So as I said, actually this is applicable for all industries and all verticals, as I said, right? So if you take telecom, so billing, revenue assurance, email response, MACD, Jeopardy, order processing, hundreds of use cases actually in telecom. Similarly, banking and manufacturing. Manufacturing, there is a bit, manufacturing side, from the vertical side, there are no much use cases, but in the horizontals, procurement, invoice management, material management, so there are hundreds of use cases. Even manufacturing and retail, in both of these, actually, they have a lot many use cases on the horizontal side, not on the vertical side. And healthcare anyway. So there is a huge scope for automation in healthcare. So there are a lot many use cases. So pharmacovigilance, clinical trial, tumor management, hundreds of use cases are there. Anyway, we will show one of the use cases. So in the demo in this afternoon session, and FNA. FNA is the number one area for RPA. So any industry, be it telecom, finance, banking, manufacturing, whatever you take, the primary area for automation is FNA. So accounts payable, receivables, whatnot. There are hundreds of use cases in FNA. Every industry they start their RPA journey with FNA. And next one is HR. HR also they have a lot many use cases in the trend. Finance, yeah, FNA is finance and accounting. Okay. Next. Complete ages. Next. Next. Okay. Yeah. So how a typical order processing automation works? I'll just try to give you a brief of actually how the manual work is handled and how that is automated with RPA. Okay. Um, see, so these are the operational associates or the agents. So what they are doing is collecting data from multiple sources. So they are accessing these applications. They are accessing mail. They are accessing SAP. They are accessing Oracle, Java. So these are the applications actually they are handling it. Okay, they are collecting data and standardize on Excel as per the defined cross business rules. So generally, what they do is whenever actually we are entering data into in an application, we have to send that Excel sheet. We have to upload the data from the Excel sheet in a standard format. So then only the application will take, right? So every application will give some facility to upload the data into the application. So upload through Excel. You may be finding somewhere, right? Upload through Excel. So that Excel should have a standard format. So here what they're doing is they're creating, there is a standard Excel sheet in which actually they are collecting the data from here and entering the data into that standard format and input manually into application front end. Application front end will give a data. So let us say the 100 customers data I need to upload into SAP, for example. 100 users data I need to enter. So then what I should have? I should have the data in an Excel form for all the 100 customers. Then I'll click on that upload through Excel button. So then the entire data gets uploaded into the application. So this is what actually they do. Okay. And it takes 3 full days with 6 people. I'm just giving an example so that you can visualize actually how RPA is used and get benefited. Okay, this is taking 3 full days and it is 3 FTE means 6 FTE means 6 people, full-time employees. FTE is full-time employees. And now, so when this is automated, so let us say all this can be automated because this collecting the data from these sources is possible through RPA, and creation of the Excel sheet is also possible through RPA, and uploading is also possible. All the 3 steps are possible through RPA. So then what we can do is we can just automate this step. And second step, you create the Excel sheet and update the values in the Excel sheet, all the 100 customers. And then, so this also, it's clicking a button only. So you have to attach an Excel and click on the button. So that also can be automated, right? So all the steps can be automated. And it takes how much time? It takes 1 day. Here it is taking 3 full days. Of course, I'm just giving an example here, but at least you will get a benefit of 50-60% because all are there is no legacy application here. Okay, legacy applications OCR may take some time, but if it is a web-based, if it is a Excel, so these automations will be faster. So it will take you only 1 day, and you may remove 4 people here, and you can stay with two FTEs just for verification and all. So they will be utilized for any verifications whether everything is done properly or not, and if it is stuck somewhere, so they can correct it. But you need not have all the people, and at the same time you can save a lot of time. Instead of 3 full days, actually in 1 day, actually you will be able to complete it. So this is a typical example. Of course, there are cases where we have seen an efficiency of course, we have implemented something for a Canada bank. Of course, their operations are running from Manila. Actually, each transaction was taking 3 minutes time. Okay, and after robotization, 20 transactions took 1 minute. Okay, so certain applications like web-based applications, the automation will be very fast because in web-based application, you will have HTML code and you will have all the source element within your laptop itself so that you can handle those things very easily. Anyway, so in the demo you will see that. So yeah.
Those two FTs, their primary job, because everything is automated, their primary job is looking from the center to everything goes smoothly.
Yeah.
They are technically not working.
Technically, actually,
everything is
yeah,
automated.
yeah.
Just that they are making sure that the operations don't stop.
Right. See, they will be, of course, it's only a hypothetical example that we are giving, like, because, so if there is any error in terms of a particular records, maybe they have to correct it or something like that. Yeah. So these are the, of course, typical use cases. So for each use case, actually, from telecom, banking, just in order to, convey that, so this is applicable for all industries, okay? Because we have implemented for telecom, banking, manufacturing, airways, and what not. Manufacturing we have implemented, healthcare. So these are all the best cases for RPA. Of course, this line by line it's not you will be able to understand. Sorry. So work fusion open source is there, but actually it doesn't work. It doesn't work. We tried. No, open source actually nobody is giving open source. Open source only actually it is not a open source. Source is not open, but it's free. RPA Express they have released. WorkFusion they have released RPA Express that is free, but it's not open source. But actually we are finding it very difficult to automate it because they are developed it on Java. So Java requires a lot of resources. They need 8 GB RAM and all.
So high research service, right?
Yeah, it's highly resource intensive, you can say.
But it is free.
RPA is free. Actually, WorkFusion gives the complete cognitive RPA that they call it as a SPA. SPA means Smart Process Automation. They call that WorkFusion tool as a SPA tool. And there is a RPA component also. RPA component is called RPA Express. RPA Express is free, but people are finding it very difficult to implement, and it requires some coding also. UiPath, Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, they don't require any coding, but WorkFusion requires some piece of coding and some, you should have the Java knowledge also, though it is free. Move on. Yeah, this is actually just wanted to convey only one thing here. This is about the IT operations. Of course, this is not only applicable for IT operations, this is applicable for all operations. See, potential benefits, FTE requirements. So if you take, okay, FTE requirements before automation, if you take, here in the level 1, see there will be more people. At level 1, there will be more people. So I talked about thousands of people, right? So those are this area, okay? And then level 2 where some analysis is required, right? So there a moderate number of people will be required. And level 3 where actually you have to fix the bugs, right? Or problem ticket handling, correcting or releasing new versions, okay? So all those things actually you need very, very few people here. Okay, in the down you'll have bulk number of people. But once you complete the automation, because in every area there is a potential for automation. Here there is a large potential for automation, okay, and here the potential is slightly less, but it is there, and here so it will be coming down further. So at the end, so once you implement the automation, so probably the resourcing will be like this. So resourcing will be evenly distributed across the all levels, because that much of automation potential you have at the level 1 stage, and slightly lesser in the middle stage where level 2 kind of activities are handled, and going further it will be still less. Understood? So this is using RPA plus a little bit of cognitive also. Okay, because as the industry is moving towards so cognitive RPA, at the end of automation, you may find the team requirements like this. Even at the L1 level also, you may need very few people. Yeah, so this is the comparison, of course, which we have done for a few industry, I mean, market available products on RPA. UiPath, Automation Anywhere, Blue Prism, OpenSpan. OpenSpan is now it's called as a Pega Robotics. Of course, that name has changed because Pega has acquired OpenSpan. And Nice is another product. This is also an RPA product. Okay, so these are the 5 products actually which we have done some analysis in terms of what is a better tool to implement for any industry, because whenever actually we go to customers, customers would expect us to recommend a tool. Okay, so if you have to recommend a tool, we need to study actually what are the pros and cons of each tools. Okay, so this is how because, but largely, if you take these 3 leaders, UiPath, Automation Anywhere, and Blue Prism, there is no much difference. There may be a slight difference between these tools. Maybe 5% difference would be there. Okay. Otherwise, all the 3 tools are working fine. Okay. Nice, we have not seen. Pega, Nice and Pega, so there are some deficiencies, so which we cannot recommend to the customers. But so these 3 are the leading tools, and we can implement any type of use cases. They will have some, advantages and disadvantages, but still we can complete the automation. We cannot just say that it's not possible through UiPath. If you take a use case that is possible through all the 3, if there is any constraints related to the particular product, so that can be resolved through some workarounds. Okay, but as a whole, there is no much difference. So here also we are given feature-wise. Actually, we are given virtualization capacity, scalability, security, architecture, and all that. But at a high level, if you ask me, hardly there is only 5% difference. Okay, especially for these 3 only. Actually, I'm talking about only these 3 only. OpenSpan, they have some problems with some automations. We need coding also there. Nice is also, and it's not fully tested and proven. But the remaining 3, they are tested and they work fine. Yeah.
So we didn't. I mean, work fusion is not. You mentioned about.
Yeah, work fusion. In fact, actually, so we are not mentioned here because we haven't studied properly on this, because we tried to study work fusion, but it was taking huge amount of resources. If you try to deploy in a laptop like this, it will so hang on, and because it needs a lot of resources. It needs processors as well as processing capacity as well as memory, everything. So that's where actually we could not progress with that. But work fusion we cannot call that as a RPA tool, because they themselves calling it as a SPA tool, the standard, smart process automation tool. It is predominantly they have developed it for handling unstructured data coming through OCR and all. Okay, mainly document related, invoicing, contracts, incidents. So that kind of use cases can be handled through that fusion.
So functionality wise, these 3 are roughly the same, and
Yeah.
pricing wise, license wise.
Pricing, actually, UiPath is the lowest. UiPath is $8,000 per robot. Okay, orchestra. There are 3 components in UiPath. Okay, in UiPath, so you'll have robot, you have developer, you have orchestrators. You have price for all the 3. So robot license is $8,000. Developer license is about 6,000 or 8,000. That's also 6,000, I think, and orchestrator is 20,000. Automation Anywhere is, there are multiple plans. In one plan, it is robot license is 10,000. In one plan, it is 6,000. Okay, they have enterprise license and all that, Okay, so there are 2 to 3 plans, but the maximum is $10,000 RPM. But if you buy enterprise license, the robot comes at $6,000. Uh, so it depends. It depends on actually which model, which plan actually you are picking up. And Blue Prism is 8,000 pounds per robot. It's the costliest. Yeah. And they are saying, huh? No, this is pounds. Blue Prism is in pounds. Huh? Blue Prism is UK product. Yeah.
The other two are US.
Yeah. Blue Prism actually has came to market earlier. It was first to get into the market, and afterwards Automation Anywhere. So these two are the, you can say, pioneers. And UiPath is a new entrant basically, and they've used new technologies. They have used drag and drop features, and also they made it very user friendly and very easy to configure also. Ease of configuration is very easy in UiPath and a little bit in Automation Anywhere, but it's a bit complex in Blue Prism. Anything? Is the last slide? Or? Okay. So this is about RPA. Any questions? We'll just go through the other slides also on the process assessment, and we'll just glance through. We already covered. You have the third deck also. Oh, sorry. Third deck is now.
There are some primitives implemented in those tools. Primitive like question making primitives. How they are introduced, like it's also grammar and syntax, right? Specify what it has to do, actions, process.
Yeah. So that is development. That is the development. Yeah. Yeah, actually, it is not a. So we are not writing any code.
We are not writing, but internally.
Internally, it would be there. It's developed on .NET. Yeah.
There's a grammar.
Yeah.
So all that one has to learn to.
No need to learn. So if they understand some language, that would be okay.
It is all GUI.
GUI.
Provided.
Yeah.
Just drag and drop.
Drag and drop. Yeah, so this is what actually I talked about. So when an industry thinks of RPA implementation, okay, so these are the pillars. So automation consulting, so roadmap. So what are the, let us say 5,000 use cases are, how to go ahead with those use cases, delivery governance and opportunity assessment. So everything will be done by the consultants, okay. And tool selection also done by the consultants, okay. And the organization transition plan, how do we transition these things, and cost benefit analysis, script building. So all the steps actually need to be carried out. And if you move on, at a high level, we'll say it's a process assessment. So in the process assessment, you will take all these processes, process CAD X up to X, and you will, so you take volumes, activities, EHT, everything into account, and you figure out, because this is a kind of filtering, okay, and you will figure it, and so these are the outputs. These outputs are like, process ready for automation. So if you are giving 5,000 use cases here, okay, so there may be 100 or 200 use cases here, process ready automation, and process change before automation. Process change before automation means what? So some processes, if you make some small change in the process, you will get more benefits. For example, I'll tell you one example which we have implemented for Bell Canada. It is a service desk operations. In service desk operations, there are 70 people. and service desk is for their internal employees. Okay, so they raise tickets, they raise requests for the password reset. Password reset also they use different applications. For each application, they raise a password request separately. Okay, so they raise a request. The service desk agent takes it, and he will execute. He will access the relevant application and resets the password and conveys back to the employee. So through email, or he call him and he will issue the new password. So in this case, everything is manual. End to end, it is manual. Employee is calling the service desk, or he's sending an email. There's a manual. Again, he's noting it down, and he's accessing the particular application, resetting it. Everything is manual. Here, what you have done is, here we have introduced a process change. The process change is, we have introduced a web page. We have introduced a web page for the employees to reset their passwords. So the employees will access the web page and raises the request for the password change or password reset. So the web page will accept the request, and the request will be fed to the bot, RPA bot. So we have put a bot there, and that bot will take that request, and it will access the application, and it will reset the password, and it will take the new password and populates on the web page. So here now we have automated everything because there is a process change here. So instead of an agent taking the call, so we have changed the process by giving an Excel, web page, and we introduced that. Okay, that way actually we are able to get more benefits. Right? So we are saved about 15 people there. Okay, so that is the process change. Process change before automation. This will tell. So once we get this, in the report we will get how many processes require changes, and process not suitable for automation. There may be some processes, but they are not at all suitable for automation. Okay. For example, in some cases, KYC details, they will give it in scanned copies. So PAN card and Aadhaar card, they will give it. So PAN card and Aadhaar card, clarity may be there or may not be there, right? So in such case, it is very difficult to pick the values from the PAN card or Aadhaar card correctly, because if you change the direction, or if it is slightly this or quality is bad, you cannot read those values automatically. So in those cases, actually, we cannot automate it. Okay. So there may be some cases which are not possible also. So this is how actually process assessment, and these are the roles. So domain consultant, business analyst, actually they perform these activities, process. And next is feasibility assessment. Okay, once I identify, yes, these are the 100 use cases, I need to check the feasibility also, right? So they say that this is the best case. All the 100 use cases are fit for RPA. But in the next stage of filtering, I'll check the feasibility. So if there is any, let us say, legacy application involved, where there is a legacy application, I may or may not be able to automate it. So the solution designers or some technical guys, they will just analyze and they will say that yes, it is possible or not possible. Okay, so though the first team says, domain consultants and business analysts, they say that it's okay, but the RPA expert will come in and say, no, it is not feasible. So if it is not feasible, so we have to filter out those things. Next step. Just go back. Yeah, process readiness. They say that this process is ready, but technical compatibility. So that's what I'm saying. So if there is any legacy system or a mainframe, maybe mainframe also actually we are able to handle, but in some cases we may not be. Okay, because mainframe, so there are so many emulation types are there. Certain emulations, RPA, UiPath may not be able to handle. Okay, certain emulations, automation anywhere may not be able to handle. So it depends on the emulation also. And ROI. So if it is not giving ROI, so then also we have to filter it out, because we need to pick up wherever there is an ROI. Move on. Next, cost benefit analysis. So this analysis, So as I said, so ROI is a must for us to implement, right? Of course, ROI is not always a must because there are some ROI. Okay, if there is no business case, we told them that there is no business case, so we cannot go ahead. No, no, no. I wanted to invest on this because my target is not to get into ROI and all. So I need accuracy. This is very critical. My team is finding it very difficult to manage these operations. I wanted to implement, though there is no ROI. So it's a business decision actually. To be taken because from our standpoint, we will say that there is no business case, but still, customer can override and they can go ahead with the automation. Next. Next up, this is a routine business requirement so that we talked about. Let's move on. Solution design. Actually, solution design also we talked about because solution design, we may think that actually there is no much design is required here because we are taking the process and we are just automating it. Why there should be a solution design? Generally, because we are not integrating multiple applications here, right? But still, we have to have a solution design kind of thoughts into the implementation. Why? Because let us say we have taken a process. And we are automating it. So that process, let us say, there may be three steps. Three steps is like, so first it has to identify something. Whether it identifies something and says there is a condition. If it is yes, this has to be proceeded. If it is no, it should be stopped there. Okay. If there is a condition here, so generally what can happen is, let us say assignment and resolution. So these are the two steps. Assignment and resolution are the two steps. But it is a single process. What I will do is I'll put some bots for assignment only because that is a small process and it's a large volume and all the assigned process may not go to the resolution process. Some may go back to the return. Some may go back to the other buckets also. In that case, what I will do is I'll put a bot for only assignment. I'll put this as an assignment bot. And I'll put few bots for the resolution. For resolution also, what I can do is I can do, for password research, I can do one resolution bot, password resolution bot. And I can put some account privileges bot. I can put another bot for, data updation. So like that, I can put multiple bots. And assignment is only one. So it assigns and it will check the category of the ticket and assign that particular ticket for the proper robot. So if the request is password reset, so then it will route the request to the password reset bot. So like that, actually, that some design is required for any large operations. If it is a single small use case, if you wanted to experiment and all, so then there is no much solution designing is required. But for a larger implementations and all, definitely there is a role for solution designer to design how the bots should be placed, how bots should talk to each other. In some cases, there will be talking between the bots also. There will be talking between the bots also because it's a business requirement. So all this actually has to be thought of by the solution designer before he gives the solution to the developers. Okay. So he has to, take all those, aspects. So when actually he designs the solution, so he has to think of the reusability, integration with other systems. So reusability here is like, let us say, login into SAP application. So there will be 100 use cases. Maybe out of the 100, maybe 50 use cases they need SAP login. Okay. So then what solution designer will suggest is you create a code only for or element code element for particular login and keep it as a code block. Okay, code block and put it in the library. Whatever you put it in the library, that can be reused. Okay, so these aspects developers may not be having that visibility. So these aspects will be visible to the designer who will design the whole thing, like what are the different types of bots we need, and what are the reusable components we need to incorporate, because these all depends, these are all help in terms of optimizing the solution. So for an optimized solution, so we need to think of all these elements. So what are the systems, who are all the teams that are involved, what are the configurable elements, reports also. See what kind of report will be best, benefit the customer and customer. So you can design the reports and everything. So he will take all this into consideration. So when he thinks of different from the normal IT solution design, where we have to think of interfaces, APIs, right, and protocols. All that may not be there here, but here the thought process would be different in terms of implementing it. Okay. Any questions? Any questions so far? So this is the development and configuration. Of course, this I've already discussed with you. Developers will develop through developer studio. Okay, and so this is the control center. Development control center is nothing but the orchestrator where we deploy the automations. Suppose you are the developers. Okay, I am the orchestrator. My responsibility is to deploy the automation that you have developed. You develop something, I give it to me, and I will deploy in the orchestrator so that it will start working. Okay, and so there will be support team. So they will check. So they will conduct some operational readiness testing and all, and they will check actually whether the automation is properly working or not. And if it is working, so it will be versioned and it will be deployed. So there is some standard process actually that people will follow. It also may be slightly different from the normal regular IT kind of deployments. And these are the bots. And here actually you need a lot many people to manage. You may need, because we are managing the complete hundreds of robots, right? When you are managing hundreds of robots, you need many people to work on. So you need project managers, you need solution designers. Of course, I'm talking about large, very large. If it is a small operations of 20 robots and all, we may need not have those many roles. But for a large operations, you need so these many roles for testing, managing, supporting, so all that. This is how actually robots are get deployed in the environment. Any questions? Fine. So what is cognitive RPA?
Learning RPA basically it will take some decisions on its own, apart from the normal rules that we have to define. It might be able to work a little bit more on unstructured data as well.
So cognitive RPA is basically on the RPA is actually, so there is everything is unstructured in RPA. If it is a core RPA solution, core RPA automation, everything is structured. Structured in the sense you will get a mail with a proper subject line. You will get an attachment with a properly or in a standard Excel format. If it is a PDF, it is a standard PDF file you will get. If everything is structured, so that is RPA. Okay, and everything is rule based. You are not going to take any decisions. Whatever is available in the standard operational procedure document. So SOP will have the standard steps, 10 steps, 12 steps, whatever conditions, everything, whatever is documented, that you can translate into a RPA program. That you can translate into an RPA program. You need not depend on any other person also. Okay, only other person means you need to figure out what are the clicks you need to do, because here the requirement gathering is on the click level. Okay, not the process step level. Okay, you need to precisely we need to say these are the clicks I need to make. I need to click on start. I need to click on this icon. I need to click on this button, this text box. We have to clearly define that. Okay. So that's how actually requirement gathering happens here. So in the RPA, it is fully structured. In cognitive RPA, it is RPA plus a little bit of cognitive elements like handling unstructured data like contracts, unstructured data like invoices. Suppose I have 100 customers, okay, and everybody may use their own format of invoice, okay, but still I need to figure out what is the invoice amount, what is the invoice number. In one invoice, they will say invoice number in the top line. Okay, in one invoice, they may say invoice number in the bottom line or somewhere. And invoice spelling also may vary, like someone will write invoice completely and someone may write INV. But still, the system should be able to identify that is the invoice number, right? So we have to teach the machine to figure out these kind of values. So cognitive RPA is basically about unstructured data plus RPA. You got some idea of it or not? Okay, anyway, so the sessions will continue at any time. You have any question, so you can ask me. So can we break for huh?
120 now.
Maybe another 15 minutes.
Another 15 minutes? Okay. Yeah, I think we have another 15 minutes for lunch, but yeah, but if anything, but have you, anybody has worked on any RPA tool so far, you guys?
You see that Sega RPF.
Pega RPA, okay. But report generation. So, so if you are doing those tasks to bots, okay, so there will not be any business because hardly you will be saving maybe 1 day man hours or something. So the business case may not be there. But still, but if the report is critical, So then we can suggest robotics, because few people have done reporting also on robots. Few people have already done, especially the Royal Bank of Canada and other stores. So they are done the reporting automated robots. So, and in some cases there will be bulk report generation. So they have to report multiple, they have to generate multiple reports and send it to the customers. So even that kind of is also, let us say, they have to send a notification to a set of customers. Let us say there is a mistake happened in bank, because of that 1,000 people got affected. Okay. Okay. So we have to send some mail to them. So we can, the entire, the robot will be able to create letters for all the 1,000 people and send mail from there. Yes. And even in Tech Mahindra also, HR actually we are developed a bot. That also there is a automated mail that is created to thousands of people. Okay. And it takes the data from various applications and sends them. So those are all very resource intensive, repeatable, and heavy, uh, high volume and repeat.
Other departments also play the roles, but are very important. Only one sense. There are other departments. When you look for team today, you were going through that architectural presentation. Was that complete? Did we finish the entire activity?
Yeah. You go to that?
So that was the last slide of that, right?
It was the first slide.
Okay. And then we continue.
You guys understood? Got some idea?
They basically more about this use cases, then
Yeah, there will be many use cases, but the thing is, the customer will have more use cases because the process will be slightly different. But at a high level, anybody can do it. So, invoice processing, accounts receivable, accounts payable, general ledger. So these are all the finance related use cases. And in HR, uh, onboarding and trainings. But what are the actual steps in the onboarding? What are the actual steps? Those will slightly vary from customer to customer. But at a high level, people are talking about these cases, whatever actually I have shown.
do we have a goal of starting a batch anytime soon?
Yeah, we are trying to start a batch on UiPath developer. Because that's where some you know complexity is there in terms of understanding. Because business analysts and solution designing, maybe someone is already in that field, so he will be able to quickly grasp. And developer is something, RPA development is slightly different from the current, the other technologies, right? So initially they may need
When we start?
so we wanted to start depending on the interest, actually anytime next 1 or 2 weeks. No, it will be online for 1 hour we are thinking, and Saturday practical sessions. Saturday a couple of hours practical, and so working is 1 hour per day. Sort of. Yeah. Yeah.